Hello, hello, hello. And let me bring on Tamykah and we'll get started. Okay. Tamykah, let me know when you are here and then I will share it to our respective Facebook pages and all of that good stuff. Okay. Adding. Hey.
Hey,
All
hey.
right. So, let me share this to our pages. And so the event that I had set so people could set the reminder and watch this, it doesn't intuitively let you know how to start the damn live from that event. So,
Oh,
gotta love Facebook. Gotta
Facebook.
love it. We are live. Come join us. Toxins in your household. Smell good. All right, 1 second. What we're talking about. Okay, so I posted this on my page, and let me share this to your page if it'll let me. I can share it to your timeline. I can't share it to your page. Is that okay?
Okay, I'll see how I
Once it's
can.
on your page, you might be able to
Yeah,
share it to your page, to your
yeah, that's what
yeah.
I'm
So
figuring.
here we go. We're live. Come join us. Toxins in your household. Smell goods. Okay, so it is going to your time now. So it should be on your timeline now. Do you have a lot? You're going to need a laptop in order to share it. You're not going to be able to do it from the device.
All right, give me one
Yeah.
second.
If you try to go to share from on your phone, it's going to disconnect you from here. Gotta love
Yeah, I see
it.
that. All right,
Sorry, guys. Just give us a second to get
all right.
everything set up, and we will get started. So, just while Tamykah is sharing it to her Facebook page, I will just do a quick introduction. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm Chinyere Williams, holistic health coach, functional nutrition coach, rather, and I'm here today with Tamykah Anthony-Marston, who is a forensic toxicologist. She is actually going to be walking us through some common smell goods that we use in our house, things like candles and air fresheners. And there was something else on our list, but I can't remember exactly. Um, but that are actually toxic to our respiratory system and to other parts of our body. So the scientist is going to lead that conversation just shortly. And I will chime in with any nutritional information or things that I've learned in my study of environmental toxins. But I guess what I want to say is above and beyond the food that we're eating, it is important to start taking a look at our environment, because as equally important is the nutrition, right? Everybody talks about the food they should be eating, and the water they should be drinking, and the exercise and the sleep and all of those things. And all of those things are valid, right? They are all important. We often stop there, and we often don't look at what we're putting on our body, what we're cleaning with, what we're inhaling, what we're ingesting, what we are absorbing. And the videos that Tamykah and I are doing are to highlight those things and highlight what they're doing to you, what they are. So what are those toxins that you should be aware of? Where can you find them? And to give you some other choices and options, because thankfully we live in a time where there are other choices and options. And so we're going to highlight those for you, like we did in our last video, and we will do so again today. So Tamykah, go for it.
Hey, so someone is saying that you need to move more to your
Yeah,
right because the box where
it is
I'm at
black.
is blocking
I
you.
see that.
Okay.
like,
I
thanks
think,
for that.
all right.
There.
All right, I think you should be good now.
Except for my,
But hi
just
everyone.
FYI, the floor in my kitchen is slanted towards the end. And so my chair keeps wanting to roll back over there. So if you see me doing this all night, it's because of that. Gotta love it.
Good to know. Good to know. Um, so my name is Tamykah. I'm a forensic toxicologist, and tonight we're going to be talking about some cleaning products, the things that you use in your house to pretty much smell good or smell fresh or be clean that may actually be harming you. So the first one that I want to talk about is the cleaning products. A lot of people are still using bleach and ammonia to clean, which is a little bit alarming to me because we now have Google and things that we can use to look up to, see how toxic some of these things are. But a lot of it has a lot to do with us doing things that people before us have done. So our parents used bleach and ammonia to clean, and so we just kind of go along with that. But those two things combined is actually pretty nasty as far as toxicity goes. So when you combine bleach and ammonia, there's a gas that's formed, and that gas is chloramine vapor. That could also lead to another chemical called hydrazine. And these are all pretty nasty respiratory irritants. So when you talk about respiratory irritants, we're talking about asthma, bronchitis, seizures, headaches, nausea, things like that. And I mean, we know that this is real because whenever you mix the two things and you're in the presence or you're in somebody's house that mix them to clean, you smell that thing, that vapor that makes you want to open a window. And so that kind of lets you know that that is not a good look. So if you're still using bleach and ammonia to clean, I really highly suggest you not just for you, but especially if you have any elderly in your home or any children. They especially are more affected by these gases than the average person. They did a study and they said that on average, each household has about 62 toxic chemicals that are just circulating at any given moment. And some of these things that we don't really have too much control over, like I said on the last broadcast, because it's in the air. But some of it we do have control over. So it's really about lessening your toxic burden, which means that you're using products that have as low as toxicity as possible, because we are combating with all of these other things that we have no control over. So if you are still using bleach and ammonia, please, for the love of God, I really need you to stop. But in addition to that, it's like people are like, but I really need it to be clean, right? Because bleach, and when you think about bleach and ammonia, you think, oh God, it's really white and it's really clean. There are other things that you can use to clean with. I have an all natural product line, Xanthines All Natural Products, and I'll put that in the comments in a second. But if you don't want to purchase something, you have things in your home right now that you can use to clean. Vinegar, everyone has vinegar. Everyone has baking soda. And if you don't have it, it's very easy and inexpensive
hydrogen peroxide.
To
you
purchase
can use hydrogen peroxide
and
with some
peroxide.
essential oils and clean. There's tons
Right.
of options.
So there are definitely other options that you can use, because the problem is that just like the cosmetic industry that we spoke about on the last Facebook Live, the cleaning product industry is not regulated by any entity either. There's no one saying, okay, when somebody comes out with a new cleaner, multi-purpose cleaner, window cleaner, there's no entity that's coming along and saying, let's check it out and make sure that it's safe for everyone. The I think it's called the EPA, but they actually regulate it for workplaces, not really for households. So if you're using products that are meant for workplaces, imagine the size of a workplace versus the size of your home. So just because something is safe to use in a workplace that's much larger, has much more airflow, your small bathroom or your small kitchen or your small house, period, is a different environment than a large workplace. So the concentration of toxicity within the products that you're using is more amplified because you're using them at home. So that's for the bleach and ammonia. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Well, yeah, I wanted to say, so even outside of bleach and ammonia, there are, if you go to the store, there are tons of different cleaning products on the line, right? So there's ones that are just for your toilet,
Right.
there's ones that are just for your cabinets, and there's the all-purpose cleaners.
Right.
And I don't think that
Right.
they're better just because they're not necessarily just bleach and ammonia, because they have the phthalates and they
Yes.
have, other harmful chemicals in them. So I'm not sure if you can talk to any of that.
I mean, even down to like the multi-purpose cleaner and the window cleaner, like the Windex, for example. A lot of people use Windex. That sweet smell that you smell when you're using the multi-purpose cleaner or the Windex, that's a chemical, a very toxic chemical that produces that sweet smell. And that chemical is and bear with me for the science words, but I want to say the word so that you can look at your ingredients so you can know if it's in there or not. But the chemical is 2-butoxyethanol, and it's usually in window cleaners and multi-purpose cleaners. And this is like even worse than bleach and ammonia, because in addition to being a respiratory irritant, it also causes seizures. It also causes nausea and liver and kidney damage. And, like I said, the issue is that there's nobody regulating these things. And some of the toxic chemicals, they're not required to be on the label.
Right.
So this particular chemical actually doesn't even need to be on the label, even though it can actually be in the cleaning product. And that's a problem. Because even if it is on the label, it's bad. And if it's not on the label, it might still be in there. You don't know that. So that's a problem too. And again, for the window cleaning, vinegar is really great for cleaning windows. If you get some newspaper, I don't know if people still use newspapers, right? But if you get some newspaper and you get some vinegar and you clean your windows, I promise you, windows and mirrors, they will be shiny just like with the Windex, but obviously with a less of a toxic burden. So there are so many options, and you can always Google like do-it-yourself, do-it-yourself cleaners. Somebody is asking about Fabuloso. Is that the one? Is that
I think that's the purple one.
Is that the colorful stuff?
The colorful stuff, yep.
Yeah, that stuff is horrific. I mean, in addition to all of the things that we just spoke about, those things usually have an insane amount of fragrance. Like they want you to make your house smell like all of these various things that your house doesn't need to smell like. But that's what attracts, the purple stuff, yes. That's what attracts us to them, is that, oh, this smells good, let me use that. And the problem is that we spoke about this on the last Facebook Live, but the issue is that when something smells like that very strongly, it's usually scented with, synthetic fragrances, which are usually phthalates. And as we spoke about on the last live, phthalates are included in pretty much anything that you see fragrance as an ingredient.
Right.
When you see the fragrance as an ingredient, that means that.
Not to mention, even sometimes fragrance-free stuff also has phthalates in it. It's just a masking so that you don't smell the smell, and it makes you feel like it's here, but
exactly.
Hey, Shelly, thanks for joining.
Exactly. And also the issue with the phthalates, like we discussed on the last one, is that, they're endocrine disruptors. And when you disrupt the endocrine system, you're essentially disrupting hormones. And if you don't know it, hormones are responsible for pretty much everything. So, like if, you're trying to reproduce and you can't figure out why you can't have a baby, phthalates could be one of the issues. I'm not saying it's the only issue, but you also have to look at the different factors that could play a part. So phthalates are responsible for things like low sperm count in men and infertility in women and a whole slew of other things, So anything, exactly, onset, of puberty for young girls, and also like not having, for the young boys, their testes not being able to descend because the hormones are all out of whack. Plus weight gain and, things like that too. So, when you look at the different products that you're using, it's not about throwing everything in the garbage. It's really just about knowing the ingredients and things and figuring out which ones you can live without, which ones can you replace. Because replacing just one cleaning product might actually be doing you a world of good. It starts with one. And it's fun to make your own stuff. You know what I mean? Like you can scent it the way that you want. I know that you have the essential oils. So if you want to smell all fresh and clean, you can do it naturally with essential oils. It's it smells much nicer, and it's aromatherapeutic, which means that, you get the added benefits of feeling good as you're cleaning as
Right.
well. So
And I'll just add, so in my shower, in my bathroom, I had some mold growing in the
mhm,
tiles, right? And back when I
mhm,
had a cleaning lady who come in and clean, she would use bleach, right? I would not be home, and I would come back and I'd be like, "Oh my god, my apartment smells horrible," but she was using bleach to get it out, right? It would be gone
right.
for a little while, but it always came back,
Mm,
right? Recently, when I got on my essential oils kick, I made a concoction. It was like hydrogen peroxide
mm,
and I don't even remember what essential oils, but maybe I think it was probably oregano and melaleuca, maybe some lemon I had in there, I can't remember. And I sprayed it there and I used an
mhm,
old toothbrush and I just, cleaned it up. And it's been a couple of months and it hasn't come back, right? So the thing that came back even with the ammonia, even with the heavy toxic chemicals, didn't get rid of it, but hydrogen peroxide
mhm,
and some essential oils got rid of it
mhm,
without me wanting to gag, and has kept it gone for months.
mhm.
So yeah, all that to say, like, we have
Yeah,
been provided with everything we need. We just have to learn how to use it.
right. Yeah, and another way that you know that these products are toxic is if you speak to anyone that's in the cleaning business, meaning that they do that for a living. Ask them if they have any respiratory issues, if they have asthma. When did they develop it? Did they have it before they started the job, during the job? And you'll see a big difference. When I was in the hospital, when I gave birth to my daughter, and that's now one, I was at New York Hospital, and they clean everything. She came in, wiped everything down with the bleach, and I was like, no, I don't want
Right.
that. And she was like, why? And I asked her, I said, how many of your coworkers have respiratory issues? And she said all of them, including herself. So that tells you something too, because these are people that are dealing with this stuff pretty much on a daily basis
Right.
for work. And they are constantly going to the doctor with asthma and, bronchitis and sometimes things that are irreversible, like lung
Right.
damage. So like I said, it's about keeping your toxicity load on a low. We can't completely eliminate it, unfortunately, but we can do things that would limit the amount of toxic things that we're
Absolutely.
using. So that's if anyone has any questions about other cleaning products, you can put them in
Yep.
the comments. But I'm gonna move on to the
Yes,
candles.
candles.
um,
I used to be a candle.
I know everyone's gonna hate
I
me
used to
for
be a
this.
candle junkie. My mom sold candles. I burned them all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, educate us about candles.
All right. So I used to be a candle girl too. When you don't know better, you don't do better, right? And they smell so good. It's like, oh, the scented ones. Glade has all these wonderful shower fresh and pumpkin pies and all of that good stuff. But the problem with the candles is that most candles are made from paraffin wax, right? Paraffin wax is a byproduct of petroleum. So the candles are fine until you burn them, which sucks because that's the whole point of a candle, that you want to burn them. So when you burn candles, they produce these fumes of toluene and benzene, and those are really, really nasty, nasty toxic chemicals. It's like burning a candle in your house would be the equivalent of sitting in a room while two people are smoking
Mm,
and inhaling the
wow.
secondhand smoke. That's how toxic it
Wow.
is. Because of it's not the candle, it's that burning that happens. And the burning is what produces those fumes that are just horribly toxic. So in addition to the wax, the wick, that part that you burn, that like
Mm-hmm.
clothy part, they banned lead in the wicks in
Mm-hmm.
2003. But again, there's no one really governing this thing. So when they've done independent studies, they realize that a lot of the manufacturers are still using lead. So now imagine the wick that's being burnt has lead inside of it. So now it's emitting lead all over your apartment. So it's like indoor
Right.
pollution, right? And sometimes, depending on the amount of lead inside of the candle, what ends up happening is you now have a situation where, especially if you have children around, because that's when you really have to worry about lead as far as their
Right.
developmental stuff. You have like 5 times the amount of lead that a child should be
Right.
exposed to. So think about how many times you're burning candles. It's not like you're burning one candle a month. Most people that burn candles sometimes burn them daily, and that's separate from the actual fragrances that they're using to scent
Right.
the
That goes
candle.
back to the phthalates.
And that's usually
Right.
phthalates.
Yep.
Exactly. So somebody asked
I
about
was just
soy
gonna say, what
candles.
about candles?
So the thing with the soy candles is they're much better than the paraffin candles, but to be honest, most soy is like
Right.
GMO. You know what I mean? That's also not something that's governed very well either. So you never know if you got a GMO soy candle or not, which leads to a whole slew of other issues. My suggestion is the beeswax candles.
Beeswax.
They're harder to find. They might be a little bit more expensive, but they also burn slower. And the cool thing about beeswax candles is that not only do they smell wonderful, because I love the smell of honey. So if you like the smell of honey, like you like the beeswax
Yeah.
candles. And you can also make them at home and scent them with other essential oils to make them smell even, nicer. But the cool thing about beeswax candles is that, so floating around in the air, usually inside the home more so than anything, is positive ions, right? And I know that the word positive usually in most people's minds, they think
Right.
something good. Right. But positive ions are not good for you. They usually carry around, like toxic mold and, other things that are attached to the positive ion. So they're constantly floating around in the air. Beeswax candles emit negative ions. So as we know, I hope we remember a little bit of science that the, negative and the positive go together. So what ends up happening is the negative ions that the beeswax puts out there attaches to the positive ions that are not good for you, and they end up making that molecule heavier. So that molecule falls to the floor rather than floating around in the air that you can breathe it in. So if you're gonna get a candle, beeswax candles is the way to go. And if you want to get, make it fun, make them. Buy some beeswax and get some coconut oil and get some cocoa butter. And there's plenty of recipes online. Get some essential oils and make your own candles, and they burn slower. So you'll be able to have them for a longer time because it's like a harder wax. So Glade, no. No Glade, no whatever the other brands are. None of that stuff.
I was just actually today on my way back from the park by the Botanical Gardens. There was a woman selling candles outside, and I just shook my head because I'm like, I'm pretty sure those are probably not the candles that people want to be burning in our house. And I've been thinking I would have gotten her information, found out she was on Facebook, and invited her to this call because she needs to see that. But yeah, people are buying. I mean, there are a gazillion different brands of soy candles. I mean, soy is supposed to be the healthy alternative, and so I would say probably the large majority of at least the smaller boutique candles, right? Not necessarily the Glades or whatever, but the smaller boutique candles that women are, making these days are not good for you. They're probably made out of the soy.
Yeah. I mean, and another, it's just not knowing, like people want to do better, I feel, but it's like not having all of the information that they need to make better choices. So that's the whole point of, even this talk. It's about giving you the information. So you might still say, well, you know what? I might stop using bleach and ammonia, but I like my candles. And that's cool. I mean, as long as you have the information to make those types of decisions, rather than going into the store and just, not being armed with the knowledge to know, okay, well, this has that. And if I choose that, that's what I'm going to get. So I know it. I still want it though. But I'll make a better choice with something else.
Or thinking that you're actually buying something healthy and good for you that turns out not to be, right? So at least now you have the information and you can make an informed decision. It's up to you.
Right, exactly. Did you have anything else you wanted to go over?
Not about candles. I think the next thing on our list was air fresheners?
Yeah, and I mean, they kind of go, hand in hand with the candles. But I know that people use them more than they use the candles. People will have all the Glades in the bathroom, the linen freshes, and the, fabric, sprays, Febreze, all of that stuff. And honestly, like if you look on the back of it, and if you have something now that's close by that you can, go get it, that's like a spray stuff. And I hate to put Glade on the spot. It's not only Glade. It's the only one I can think of right now. I'm sure Airwick or whatever the other ones are called. Look on the back of it, look in the ingredients, and you'll probably see fragrance, because that's how they create these weird scents that we think smell so
like
wonderful.
what does morning
like pumpkin pie? How did you make?
What
Right, exactly. So those
like
exactly. So those scents, like we said before, they're usually created using phthalates. And that one word fragrance or parfum, I don't want to forget that, because some of them use parfum instead, Parfum. Those two words could be indicative of hundreds of chemicals that they have put together to create that scent for you. And who knows, like what's in that stuff.
Anu said she burns resins using a high quality charcoal. Is there a problem with that?
I've never heard of that one. Do you know anything about that?
That's new news to me. I'm not sure about that. I've never heard of that practice.
Oh, well, Anu, I would definitely want to look that up just so I can be more informed on what it is. And then I could definitely post a comment here, or like get back to you personally, because I'm not sure what.
What about burning charcoal in general? Is there a problem with burning charcoal?
Not necessarily. I mean, my thing is I don't like burning anything. That's the thing. I prefer, because when you burn things, you kind of change the chemistry of them. You're creating a chemical reaction because it's, you're burning them. So even with oils, people burn oils a lot. Like like the oil burning. Yeah, like a lot of people do that. Okay, I'm reading. Yeah, I knew. I'm definitely going to look that up.
So maybe it's very similar to
find out more about it.
Oils, which you were just talking about, what you were starting to talk about.
Yeah, like I don't advocate burning anything. Okay, so if we're talking about essential oils, when you burn them, it kind of destroys the whole aromatherapeutic, the therapeutic part of it, because it destroys that part of it when you burn it. So I always suggest diffusing it, which it's not burning. It's like cold water, and you put some drops in there and it diffuses. You still have all of the same properties. It still smells amazing. I diffuse essential oils probably, every other day. And I know you also have the hookup with the essential oils. So if anyone needs to get some of those, they can get them from you. But I don't really promote burning anything, because if you say, yes, it's okay to burn oils, then you have to get nitty gritty with what oils are you burning,
quality of the oil.
Right? Because different oils have different properties. What's the quality of the oils and all these different things. So I always say, if you want to have that effect of having a wonderfully smelling home, get a diffuser. They're not that expensive. And, don't burn it. Just put the drops in there and it has the same effect. Right. Trust me. It smells really good, especially if you get a high quality essential oil.
Absolutely. So does anyone, let me just check on my business page and see if there are any questions there that we can't say. I don't know if they show up under the same Facebook Live or not. So I'm just going to double check just to see. Nope. Okay. I don't see any there. And I think we have, we're seeing all the questions as they come up on here. So for those that are on, or for anyone that just tuned in, we are talking about toxins and what they do to your body, and your common household cleaners and smell goods, your air fresheners, your candles. So if anyone has any questions that they want us specifically to answer, go ahead and type them into the comments. Otherwise, we will probably end this in the next minute or so. But before we go, I do want to let people know that Tamykah has her own line of all natural clean products, and she has an all-purpose cleaner that I love, that I've used myself, that I love, that smells good. That's the one that has clary sage in it, right? Yeah, it has the clary sage essential oil. So for women especially, clary sage is awesome for balancing your hormones. So, it's almost like a complete 180 from the household cleaners that you buy in the store, which destroy your hormone balance. Her product, her all-purpose cleaner actually
That's right.
helps to balance out your hormones. So not only is it effective, because it does work, I clean my house with it, it smells good and it doesn't destroy, but it actually helps balance your hormones. So if you're looking to make a transition into cleaner products, I would highly suggest you look at Tamykah's Xanthines All Natural Product line, and we'll post a link to where you can find out more information about that in the comments. But yeah, I've used her all-purpose cleaner, her toothpaste, which I love because it's remineralizing, which a lot of us need because of all the acidic foods and stuff that we're eating. I've used her deodorant, I've used her facial scrub and her body scrub and her body wash. And highly recommend to everyone. So if you have any questions about her products or household cleaners or toxins in the home, feel free to drop them into the comments either now, or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and you can type them into the comments even during the replay. We'll be alerted and we will get back to you with an answer. Anything else that you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, it's really about being aware. Sometimes we get upset that we know things, right? It's like, darn it. I wish I didn't know that because I really miss spraying my body sprays and Febrezes and things like that. But there are so many things. I feel like it's like an attack right now happening as far as health goes. There's so many things that we don't have any control over. The food quality is what it is. You know, there's so many different variables. But with all of that, it's like there's so many things that we have control over. So I get frustrated when, you know, like we don't know about certain products and we're still using them thinking that we're being healthy. So the idea is really to make better choices. And little by little, it doesn't have to be like a huge throw your stuff in the garbage and start from scratch kind of thing. It's about having the you know, like just knowing so you can see how they affect you, because there are 35-year-old women walking around, especially women of color, with breast cancer and ovarian cancer and all these different types of cancers right now. That shouldn't be happening. So when we start examining how things are contributing to that, we have to examine everything.
Absolutely.
You know, so maybe 20 years ago, you know, your grandmother might have sprayed some, you know, body spray, and she was fine and she never got cancer. But there also weren't all of these other environmental things happening too. So it's all about the toxicity overload and lessening your toxic load. Because as women, and especially as women of color, like we have to be accountable for the things that we're doing. Whether that's the body sprays that we're using, the perfumes that we're using, the deodorants that we're using, the hair care products that we're using. Like, that's a lot of products. How many products do you use every day? From the time you wake up till the time you go to bed.
In the study that I watched, I want to say it was like 168 or 184 chemicals that women come into contact with every day just getting out the door, right? Between the makeup and the shower and the lotion and deodorant and all that stuff. It was like 184 different chemicals every single day. And most of us aren't detoxing either, right? So most of us aren't detoxing our body, or we are detoxing, but we're doing it with pills, we're doing it with teas that make you go to the bathroom, but those aren't the detoxes that actually help your liver and your kidneys and your colon and your lungs and all of your six detox organs, right? So, you know, your body's clogged up, your liver is clogged up, your gallbladder is clogged up, your kidneys are inundated, like everything is on overload. And so, you know, switching to better products is the first step. And doing occasional detoxes, the right type of detoxes, is definitely part of that program. So if anyone needs or is desiring to start or do a detox, I'm your girl. I do a whole foods detox, so there is no starvation, there's no supplements, there's no, well, I won't say there are no supplements, but there are no, you know, crazy pills that's going to keep you tied to the toilet for the whole time. You're not going to be, you know, starving and wondering what to eat. It's a whole foods-based detox, and it actually works. It supports your liver, it supports all of your 6 detox organs so that they actually work more efficiently. They detox the toxins out of your body more efficiently, and they protect, you know, they sort of regenerate, they reset the body so they can continue to handle everything that we're encountering all the time. Cool. I don't see any other questions. So like I said, if anyone has questions, if you're watching the replay and you have questions, definitely drop them in and we will get back to you. And, you know, if you found this helpful, feel free to share it. You know, the more we're here to educate and to get the word out. So we would appreciate your help in that. So if this was helpful for you, please feel free to share it. And if you want to look at Tamykah's products, the website is there. It's xanthines.com. And if you're interested in a detox, either reach out to me through Facebook Messenger or drop me a comment and I will reach out to you. Awesome.
Oh, do you have a website?
I do. Website.
Wait, before you go.
Yeah, helpingbodiesheal.com. www.helpingbodiesheal.com. I should probably write that in there, huh? I got it.
Yeah. Oh, you got it? Okay, great.
There we go.
Hey, Akasha.
Oh, that's your friend. Cool.
Awesome. Yes.
All right, guys. We will be back with another one of these. We haven't figured out when or what our next topic will be, but it'll be something equally interesting, and it'll be soon.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. If there's nothing else, we will say goodnight to you all, and you are very welcome. Thanks, Anu, for joining and for sharing and for, you know, asking questions. I appreciate your participation. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.